Alrighty, welcome folks. Episode 8, Back 9 Bets, Placings versus Zombies. We're going to have some fun today. This is the final event on the calendar this year. We haven't hit a outright yet, but we're going to. Last week, we had Cam Smith and Sam Burns as our boys. We went all in on those guys. Didn't quite pay off for us. But I never looked the part. This week, we're going to look the part. Got a few nice outright bets and placings, some DFS plays, some good stuff. Last week, we cashed in the green again. Our bread and butter bets, placings, and outrights cashed us 2 units. And we got ourselves a nice little first round leader combo where 2 out of our two people that we bet on finished tie for outright on the first day, and it split 5 ways. So we only got 2/5 of the pot. But that's okay. We'll take it over nothing. That was a nice 3.5 unit win for us there on a first round leader. So that was nice. The rest of the stuff was okay. Russell Henley, beautiful top 20 for us. Cameron Tringali finishing 7th, beautiful. Sam Burns, always going to finish inside the top 20. Mito Pereira, just missing a top 20 bet at plus 290 for us. But it's okay. He snuck in for a top 40 to come in and get us some cash. Sung J.M., set some dead heat rules there. It wasn't too good for us, but it's okay. He kind of just lost us about 1/4 of a unit. Nothing too crazy with the dead heat, although he did finish inside the top 20. Whatever. Tony Finau, apparently whenever we bet him, he just can't putt. Is what it is. He sucked. Seamus Powers, it's okay. He had a bad round. There were some really interesting things going on last week with the splits of the 18 holes. I think like Seamus and Sam and a few other guys and Cameron, they all had 9 holes on Thursday afternoon, and then before you know it, they were just going back to bed and they had to play 27 holes the next day. So it was a bit of a mess for them. Tough to get into a little rhythm. So it was okay. We'll forgive a few guys for that. Seamus wasn't the hottest. It's okay. However, we have a back 9 bets announcement. We have 2 people who have been placed on the back 9 bets blacklist. Yes, peeps, we do that here. 2 people. Number 1 blacklist candidate and nominee is a certain Harold Varner III. I have placed bets on Harry for who knows how long. I've placed over 20 bets on him. And here at Back 9 Bets, we're up 47 units all time. Harold Varner has cost me 10 units. I've lost 10 units betting on Harold Varner. It is time for him to be blacklisted. He's done. We are no longer taking any bets on Harold, no matter how much he may seem like he's going to do well. He just never seems to do that. Second person, we're just going for a twofer here, right off the bat. And it's one of my favorite golfers, Tyrrell Hatton. He has been blacklisted on Back 9 Bets because he also can never, ever do for us. Between him and Harry, we've lost 18 units. 18 units on just those guys. That's unbelievable. So just 2 people, that would have us sitting right around like 70 units profit all time. But no, we've bet on those 2 idiots and we've lost about 18 units of profit. So those guys are done. We're out of there. They are finished. Okay, now that that's done, we've got the RSM Classic this week. Sea Island in Georgia. I called it Florida earlier. Florida-Georgia lines, it's always a thing. Whatever. We got some fun things going on. It's a 2-course event when you play on Thursday and Friday. So you're playing on like the Plantation course on one of the days and then the Sea Island golf course on Friday or Thursday, depending on when. And then you play at Sea Island on the weekend if you make it. They're both very short holes, but there's a lot of wind in the area. So that's going to be fun. And the fun thing that I do like the most about this golf course is it's a shorter golf course and there's going to be 57% of shots are taking place from the 100 to 175 yard range, which is a lot more than normal on tour. So we're going to zone in on a few guys that really excel in that range. And you'll see there's a lot of players that have decent approach games, but they can either like kind of not do too hot in that area, or there's guys with not as good approach games, but they're wedge players. So for those of you that don't know a lot of golf, 100 to 175 is most likely going to be 90%. You're going to have a wedge in your hand. I can hit my wedge about 160 if I've had enough beers. So these guys are probably going to do that more often than not. If anything, it's a 9-iron. So these are some scoring clubs. We're going to really focus on guys that can do well with those. We're going to really go for guys that know how to make birdies, who can putt, and who can hit their irons like savages. So those are criteria. Off the tee game, minimal emphasis this week. I don't really care too much about that. It's a short course. If you're spraying your driver all over the place, then so be it. Whatever, you're going to just go with it. So that's what's going on there. Let's jump into what we've got going on, and we're going to scroll down the DraftKings board over here and see what's cooking. We got ourselves Scotty Scheffler. He's the number one DraftKings priced player, and he is coming in hot to trot right now. He was so much fun to watch last week, but we are not really exposing ourselves to him in any single way. I like Scotty as a guy, but I mean, he doesn't fit the profile for what we're looking for this week. He's 100 to 175 proximity range is not as good as what we want, and his approach game is very okay. It is heating up a little bit. I don't know how much it's going to spill into this week because he's been cooking with gas lately. As you can see, his last 12 and 24 rounds are first and fourth respectively. So very good. His driving is where he gains a lot of his strokes. He's a very long hitter of the golf ball. He can get off the tee quite nicely, and that's what I think his strength was last week. He was pummeling it off the tee. Here at Sea Island, doesn't matter. That's why you don't even see any sort of off the tee game measurements here. We're really just ignoring that entirely. If you're gonna miss the fairway, it's probably with a 3-iron or a 3-wood anyway. So it is what it is. So nothing really going on too much for Scotty. Ownership projections are ludicrous, 29%. I am just staying clear of Mr. Scotty Scheffler. Couldn't find a top 20 bet or anything else like that for him. So it is what it is. We're going to give Scotty a pass. Next up, we got Webb Simpson. He is the second-ranked golf on DraftKings at 10,700. Also, ownership projections looking fancily high. Our rankings for him and DraftKings are the exact same, and you can kind of see why. He's played really well at this golf course. He plays really well, yeah, actually. It suits his game. He kind of just dinks. Look at those good drive percentages. He likes to be in the fairway, and he doesn't hit it very far, and he's always got an opportunity with his irons. His wedge game over there at the bottom in the red over here, it's nice. It's good. His approach game is very solid. He is a very good putter, and as a result, you can see his birdie better percentages is very nice for him there. Still couldn't find any nice bets. I like my top 20 bets to be positive numbers. I can't go into the negatives with these guys, even though I think Webb's going to do well. We're going to find our value somewhere else. That's just kind of how that goes. So that's for Webb. I don't know, probably not touching him either. He's an interesting character. He's a really good player. I just can't get myself on the bus with Webb Simpson. He's not my guy. There's others down the board, okay? There's others that we're going to go to. Third on the board, Louis Oosthuizen. My seentjie van Suid-Afrika. We have got ourselves a top 20 bet for Mr. Lewis. Hy gaan ons wen hierdie ding. And at plus 140 for a top 20, I love that number. So now that we've got our first bet going on here at a top 20 for plus 140, I want to just give you the title of this episode is Placings versus Zombies. So what's going to happen in this specific event? It doesn't sometimes work this way, but how the model kicked out the bets for me this week is kind of like a Plants versus Zombies vibe. So I don't know if you've ever played Plants versus Zombies. You start with your zombies and you got your plants up top here, and they kind of shooting these little chemical bubbles at the zombies, and then they kind of go down. So what we're going to do is we're taking our strong zombies. They're the top 20 bets with really small odds, like just in the hundreds. They're going to go for the long shot here. We're going to these are our zombies with the most armor. They should be able to make it down there and take as many shots as possible, get to the end of the lawn there, get us our money. Then as we go down the board, we get smaller zombies with bigger odds. So they're more dangerous. They can bite at you and whatever and give you more poison, but they can get taken down real easy. But that's okay. As those guys go down the board, They only have to make it like halfway down the lawn, okay? So that's kind of just how we're vibing here. I don't know if you picked up my whole analogy. But the worse our zombie is, the better their odds are. So we just have to shoot like 4 or 5 of them down at like plus 500 to get to the end of the yard. And then we're making money. At plus 500, one of these guys just has to cash, and then 6 of them can essentially miss the cut, and we're still breaking even. So that's what's going on with our placings versus zombies analogy. And Louis is our first zombie. At plus 140 for a top 20, I cannot tell you how much I love that. Louis is so consistent. His proximity in this hot zone that we're talking about is kind of iffy. So I don't know. We'll see what we can do with Lewis. We're going to ride with him. Maybe do a little bit of. I don't think I'm even going to touch him in DFS either. It's just a top 20 bet from us, and we are going on from there. To our boy, the mullet man, Cameron Smith. He is one of my favorite golfers at the moment, and that's coming a lot from a South African. I tell you, he's not the easiest guy to root for, especially when he opens his mouth and speaks that silly Australian language that those boys do. But it's okay. This man, look at that mullet. Oh, my God. Anyway, this man, about a year and a half ago to a year ago, was losing 0.4 shots on approach every round. And now he's gaining 0.7 or 0.9, depending on how you want to reason around it. But he's gained over a shot with his irons per round in the last year. And that's adding to his criminally good short game. He can putt, he can chip, he can bunker, and his wedge game is insanely hot. Look at that. 100 to 175 proximity is fourth in the field. He's one of the best players from the 100 to 125 yard range, which I find awesome because that's where you can make your cash. His approach game is 32nd, but in that range, he's fourth. And I think this course fits perfectly for him. 6 out of 10 shots are going to be coming from that 100 to 175 proximity. Give it to me all day. He's the hottest golfer in the last 24 rounds, and he's the second hottest golfer after Scotty Scheffler. Scotty's numbers from this wedge range not as good as Cam's. He's going to be just lighting it up, and I can't wait to just see what he does. He can putt so well. Nothing like a bit of birdie looks, back-to-back-to-back birdies to just make that hole giant. And if this boy can get on a putting roll, watch out, people. He's going to be knocking wedges tight and just rolling them in like a I don't know what. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be beautiful. And I can't wait to see this man score some freaking birdies for us. It's going to be fantastic, okay? He's just everything we're looking for, yeah. He's everything we're looking for. I think he lost like 4 strokes off the tee last week in Houston. This is a different golf course. I don't think he's going to be having to try and force it so hard to get down the fairway further. He's probably going to be hitting 3-woods, 3-irons on a lot of these holes, hopefully. That's what we're hoping for. Let's see what Cameron Smith can do. He's our first outright at 18 to 1. We got a top 20 bet on him at 115. So that's plus money for a top 20. And then we got a top 10 at plus 230. We're going to be playing this boy in DFS. I love him so much. I love him so much over here. He's our first outright, and I think he's going to do it for us. He's playing so nicely right now. Playing so nicely right now. Just give me all those wedges. Give me all the putts, baby. Let's do it. Come on, Cam. You've got this for us, dog. Next up, Harris English. Guy looks like a psycho killer, but it's okay. He makes us money. We got Harry. He's coming in hot and heavy. And he's hasn't showed up a lot. So he's been, his last 24 rounds have been really nice. He had a bad round here and there recently, but that's okay. He makes a lot of birdies. His putting is very nice. When he gets on a putting streak, boy, he can go. His approach game is great. That hot range, though, that's the thing. We don't like it that much. But you know what? It's okay. I think at 10%, he can give you some upside there. So we're going to roll with Harry. We've got a top 20 bet on him at plus 150. It's going to be a thing of beauty. He's super solid. He's super solid. Remember, there's another four tenths of approaches that are going outside of that 100 to 175 range, which, Harry can probably do well in. And maybe he feels it. Maybe he gets the wedge in his hand and vibes. Who knows? So that's what's going on with Harry. Let's see him make lots of birdies. Let's see him finish in the top 20 for us. We got 1 unit on plus 150 there for Harry. Next up is Corey Connors. He's a fantastic striper of the golf ball. He hits it so straight off the tee, with an irons, with everything. Now, for a guy with as good wedges as he does, he's not like super elite in that 100 to 175 range proximity-wise. His approach game is phenomenal, as you can tell. He makes a decent amount of birdies because he hits it close, but his putting can get sketchy, so we'll see. I don't like him as an outright or anything. We've only had one in his camp so far. We're getting to my new boys down the list. But Corey Connors, top 20. We'll see. It's just one of those things. We'll see if he likes to stripe it down the fairway. We'll see what he can do in the wedge range over there. I don't know. I don't have much to say about Corey apart from the fact that he's just a stripe machine. So we'll just see if he can keep it going. Maybe the putts will have to drop for him. I'm probably not touching him DFS either. Joachim Neiman. He's our next guy, the slender man. Just also stripe show, and he can putt a little bit better, I believe. We'll see what it loads here. It looks like yes. So he can putt, and he makes his birdies doing it all sorts of ways. His proximity area there, the heat zone, not as good as we're looking for, but his approach game is very nice. And hopefully he can make it count. Like all of these, it's just small margins. It's a few feet here and there between these guys, but a yard or two here and there can make a big difference on a putt. So that's kind of how we're rolling. We've got 1 unit on him at plus 185 for a top 20. Boy, oh boy, do I like that. He's very consistent, and his recent form is okay. We'll go with that. Let's see what he can do for us. Let's see what he can do. Now, as you can tell, this next boy, Russell, the flush bus, Henley. Oh, my goodness. Is there a guy on tour that can stripe it better than Russell right now? The guy just lights up the approach columns. Just lights them up. Look at that. Yes. First in approach, first in that hot zone proximity, baby. The money zone. The wedge range. First. His putting is always questionable. It's always questionable. Last week, he gained 3 strokes putting. They're playing on the same surface. Hopefully, that just bleeds over. I'll take anything above 0. I'll take anything above 0 for Russell. We got him for a top 20 at plus 175. And we've got an outright on Russell Henley at 31-1. 31-1 for Russell Henley. He's the best approach player in the game. If you watch this channel, you freaking know I love approach players. That's where the money's made, peeps. It's where the money's made. Oh, and guess what? His recent form is fantastic. Oh, and guess what? We don't need good drivers of the golf ball in the fairway all the time. But if you're going to tell me that you're always in the fairway and you're 7th best in just making sure that you've gotten a shot into the green, I'm also going to take that. Russell Henley is going to be looking at a lot of flags without anything in his way. That's what good drives percentage is you hit your tee ball, and then if you can get on the green from there, that's a good drive percentage. Check it off. He does that. There's only 6 people in this field better than him at doing that. And then you know what? There's no one better who hits irons than Russell. So all he has to do is just get his putts in. And then we're talking, peeps. 175-1. Plus 175 for a top 20 is beautiful. I'm going to go to Russell on DraftKings as well. Yeah, we need some boys at the top of the range. They're all very hectically owned. You're kind of just going to have to try and dodge some bullets there up top. But between Russell and Cam Smith, I think those are my 2 guys. I really like them a lot. We'll kind of find some leverage plays further down the board here, which I have some guys. I have some guys that I doubt you've thought of. So anyway, Russ the Bus, plus 175 for a top 20. Let's rock and roll. Best ball striker in the field. Yup. all day. Another guy with some fantastic recent form, Taylor Gooch. Yes, he kind of sucked a little bit last week. It is what it is. Didn't quite pull through like he wanted to. But you know what? You can't have it all the way. It was a hard golf course. Very penal if you miss the fairways. Tough greens, chipping and stuff. It's going to be a different situation. His recent form is phenomenal, and his approach game is great. And that's what we're looking for here. He's not his money zone, the wedge is there. Can't quite get behind it that much. But at plus 230 for a top 20, this guy is one of the hottest players in the field recently. All the big numbers, the approach numbers over there are all long run. So those last 24, last 12, they're showing you, okay, this man's making his way towards where we want him to be. He's there. He's there already. The numbers just haven't caught up. It's okay. He's still showing up in the model, even with recent form not coming in hot and heavy. I like him a lot. Let's see what he can do. You know, the birdie percentages and the putting and that wedge range heat map could be a bit better, but he's an approach machine. So he'll be fine around this golf course. Going to have lots of birdie looks, and hopefully he can go from there. Top 20 at plus 230 for Taylor Gooch. I love that play. He cashes, we can have two guys that miss. That's how this works. We kind of just buckshotting it, need our zombies to dodge a few bullets, get our way there, and then we're in the money. Kevin Kisner. Everybody's darling. This guy apparently plays phenomenally at this golf course. But as you can tell, none of his metrics, apart from putting, are like what we want to go with. At 9,200, 18% owned, I'm not involved in Kiz at any way. I want a guy that I know it's course history and stuff. I'm not a big course history dude. So I'm just going to roll with not playing him. It's okay. It's what we do. It's okay. I don't like it. I don't like what I see, so I'm passing. Passing on DFS. No outrights, no top 30s, no top 40s. Zippo. Kevin Kisner is not our guy. I mean, he's ranked 39th in our model. So, yeah, I don't like him. We're going to move on to our next guy, who we do like. And there's another Kevin that I'm going to bring up to you guys now that I do like. There's a better Kevin in this field, and he's a sneaky play. However, first, we've got to deal with Adam Scott. He is our 9th ranked golfer in the field. And at 13%, the best looking player in the field, one of the best putters in the field, decent at making birdies. And you know what? Look at that recent form. Scotty's coming together. He is coming together. He's playing nicely. His approach game's great. His wedges are nice. I mean, how solid is that? Apart from his driving, which, you know what, at this course we don't care about, everything is inside the top 30 here. And we're going to go with a top 30 bet for Adam Scott at plus 125. And we're going to go for a top 20 bet at plus 200. We love Adam Scott. Look at these numbers, peeps. They're getting better. He's only getting better. He missed so many putts last week. It's frightening. For a guy that can putt as well as he can, it was not a good performance by him. So hopefully he can get it together. I love him for a top 20, top 30. I mean, I was even wondering about him outright because he's just firing away. We're going to hang tight there for a little bit, though. Just do the top 20, top 30. Yeah. Get our zombies to the end. We're good to go there. Next up is Keegan Bradley, folks. And he's an interesting character because his putting is disgustingly bad. We know this. We can see, and we all, if you ever are in on Keegan, it's with a heavy heart and a lot of booze in the system because you never know what putt is going to show up, and it's usually a bad one. Look at those ball striking numbers, though. Oh my God, he's top 10 in approach and in the wedge range. So very good. 8% ownership. I can get behind that. I couldn't find a number on him for top 20s, top 30s, top 40s, but that's okay. The beautiful thing about golf is you can use all this information and bet in different places. If you don't find a top 20, 30 number, Hey, it's okay. He's only 8% owned in DraftKings. I don't know. His wedges are very good. I mean, you can only miss so many. I mean, look, I've been on the golf course before. I know that you can miss lots of putts. But I'm not a professional golfer, okay? Come on, Keegan. Just get it together, guys. Just give us one nice round of putting. And then you're looking good, dude, because your irons and stuff is just fantastic. Keegan Bradley, 8% owned on DraftKings, 8,900. I don't know. Think about it. Next up, we've got another character that we don't quite get a number on for any top 20s, top 30s. But Justin Rose is also one of those guys. Look at those. Woo! That wedge range. This guy with a wedge in his hand is dangerous. He can putt really well when he putts well. He's one of those guys, he's got a million sponsors, a million distractions. If he can just get it together. He was also playing really, really bad, but look at that recent form. It's coming together slowly coming together. Couldn't quite get behind him on the odds board there with top 20s, top 30s, but it's okay. 6% owned. Nice play. I like him at this golf course with that kind of proximity from that wedge range. I mean, his driving has been the problem, right? So at a golf course where you don't have to worry too much, just keep it in play. Don't have to hit it far. Just hit your 3 irons, 2 irons, 3 woods. Justin Rose, babes. 6%. It's looking good there. Looking good for Rosie on the DFS side. I like that a lot. That putting and wedging is it's really, and that recent form is looking good. It's looking really nice. Now, a man that you only bet, I don't bet him top 20s and top 30s because he's just too inconsistent. If you're going to bet a man like Max Homer, you have to bet him for like a top 10 outrights or just play him in like GPPs because he just doesn't pitch, man. He just doesn't pitch, and then he does. He wins and he loses. He wins and he loses. I mean, last week he looked like he was going to miss the cut on Thursday and then somehow survived and then just hung around, So at least he's showing some reform and some respite and form. But yeah, there's nothing really over here that strikes me about Max apart from like his approach game is good in that, but oh my God, he just melts down. He just has a meltdown and then just doesn't do it for us. So I'm just kind of, I don't know, maybe DFS. I can't say I'm a fan of him though. Unless it's an outright. We don't have one of those on him at all. So moving on swiftly to Brendan Todd. The Todd father, the little dink and dunker, the guy who does have 0 distance, but the most hyper-accurate guy off the tee on tour, Brendan Todd. Look at those good drives gained. And I mean, obviously we all know he's an absolute just assassin on the greens. Put him on the green and he's going to putt lights out. Good drives. Always in the fairway. And, at a course like this, he's still going to be doing that because he doesn't hit very far. He's not going to be one of those guys hitting the 3 irons and 3 woods. He's still going to be piping a driver down the fairway in the middle. That's what he does. His approach game, very average, 90th in the field. However, he's 30th in the wedge range, baby, the hot zone, the money making places. Put a wedge and a putter in this man's hands and things are dangerous. So we got a top 40 bet on him. Just to finish inside the top 40, we're going to make a plus 110. I love that little bet there. Just a little tiny bet on Brendan Todd. Might do a little sprinkle of DFS action as well. It's not the hottest birdie maker in the world, but you know what? It's because he plays on the longer fields. Give him a little bit of a shorter course. He's going to have those wedges in his hands. Maybe for him, an 8 iron is probably as far as I hit a wedge or 2. But you know what? Doesn't matter. That range is where he excels at. That's his best situation, and he can putt lights out. So we're going to go with Brendan Todd. Another guy we really love, who could desperately use Brendan Todd's putter, is the ball striking machine called Mito Pereira. One of the first Corn Ferry Tour guys that's showing up on our board here, and we've got a few that we really like this week. It's been tough trying to handicap these boys because they don't have a lot of recent data. But hey, tell you what, Mito Pereira lights up. Anything that he's just so good, dude. Look at those ball striking numbers. His approach game is just fantastic, no matter where you put him. But obviously, the putting is a major issue. But it's okay. He cashed for us last week. I think he finished 29th, just missed out on our top 20, but he cashed for our top 40. And we're going to go back to him for another top 40 at plus 150, and then we're going to go top 30 at plus 220. We love Mito. Guy, he's an iron player, and I love iron players. He's the guy. Let's rock and roll. He's had a few bad rounds, but this is all putter related. So it's okay. He has to light it up with a putter at some point. You just have rounds like that where you just gain enthusiasm and gain confidence and you just go lights out. So hopefully Mito can pull it together for us and do that. He's going to be in the fairway a lot. He's going to be hitting a lot of irons to a lot of pins. He just needs to sink those putts. And if you see one or two in a place like this, if you see one or two go in, that confidence just grows, especially making birdie putts. That can really get your confidence like blossoming. Holding long putts for par is like, I just got away with one there. Whereas birdie putts is like that ramps your confidence up. Whereas a par save is kind of just like we'll see. So he just needs to get on the board early, get going. And I think he's going to have his breakout here. Look at this wedge proximity stuff. So he's going to be awesome. I think he's going to be dialing it in. Look out for Mito Pereira, folks. DFS play for certain for us. Absolutely. The same goes for this guy. This guy's not as a harder iron player as Mito, but I tell you what, there's really nothing that he does really badly. His putting is it's his worst suit that he has. But Seamus Power is the first time I'm not actually placing an outright on him because I'm going big on Russell and Cam. Kind of blew the whole budget there. But it's okay. We're going to the top 20 and top 40. This man has finished inside the top 25, I think, about half of his starts in the last 12 rounds. Look at that. Look at those 24th and last 24 and the last 12. He's basically top 20ing in this field. His approach game is fantastic. His wedges are fantastic. He makes a decent clip of birdies. He keeps his ball in the fairway all the time. How solid is this dude? He's like a perfectly buttered piece of toast. Just with the burnt corner being his putting. He's so good. He's so good everywhere. I don't know if this golf course calls for that kind of a player. But you know what? He's not going to be getting himself in a lot of trouble. Last week was a bit of a disaster. But like I said, the splits, I think he only played like 7 holes and then had to play like 29 the next day. It can mess with you, especially with the rain delays and stuff, whatever. He missed the cut. We cool. You missed the cut on Twitter. People miss the cuts. Seamus Powers has been playing fantastic golf. His recent form is phenomenal. He is my perfect piece of toast, okay? Let's roll with him at plus 280 for a top 20. The guy's been knocking inside the top 20s about half the time. He tees the damn thing up. Give it to me all day, and then some reassurance down there for a top 40 at plus 110. Gosh darn, I love this guy, and I wanted to bet him an outright so badly, but I just don't think he wins this thing. My money's on Cam, and then a little bit on Russ. We've got a few other guys that are coming down way, way, way long shots, but DFS play for sure for Seamus. A lot of people are probably going to be fading him after a bad round. He made some epic numbers. I think he made like a quad. Then he chipped in for eagle. It was just like a round like you play with your buddies with like a case of beer in the back, just rattling around there, just eagle chip-ins, quads, the whole shebang. He's gonna get it together in Sea Island, I think. He's gonna finish for us inside the top 20. Next up, $8,100 is Jonathan Vegas. Not the kind of guy that I'm looking to bet on. DFS at 8% is nice. But his approach game, I think, is the long irons. That's where he thrives. So he makes a decent amount of birdies, which is good. But that proximity and putting is a bit of a bother to me. We'll see. I don't know. Recent form's okay. I think a DFS play here and there maybe, but other than that, he's kind of out. Just, yeah, it's okay. We don't have to love everyone. That's what we like to do on this channel, but it's all good. Can't love everyone. However, we can love a Chris Kirk for a DFS, I think. Absolutely. Chris Kirk is our guy. He just about broke the freaking course record down in Mayakoba and then just decided to not play golf for the rest of the week. So he must have got caught up somewhere. Look at this wedge. Look at this wedging, y'all. He's a wedge machine. 17th in the field wedge-wise. And the rest of the game is very mediocre apart from his approach game, which is also very nice. So his recent form also for a guy that's going to be out here just kind of doing his thing, 13% owned. I think he can get hot with the wedges. So might sprinkle a bit of him in DFS there. All right, Matt Kuchar. This is a fun dude to bet on. The old man Matt. Oh, what a golf swing. Over the top all day, but just stripe show. This is the kind of golf course that suits Mr. Cooch. He's a great putter of the golf ball, and I think his irons are fantastic. Not the longest on tour, but that's okay. We don't care about it yet. Look at those wedges, 23rd in the field. He's a DFS number for sure. Didn't get any bets on him for the placings, but definitely going to the well with Matt. 7,900. Give me those wedges and give me that putter. I think he can do it. You know, look at the last 12 rounds. He's kind of blossoming a little bit. He's kind of getting in there. We'll see. Nice little contrarian play by Mr. Cooch. My Kevin, the Kevin that I want, not Kevin Kisner, Kevin Steal the Show Streelman. Yes. It kind of reminds me of Voldemort in a way. I don't know why. I think it's the nose, but you know what? Talk about a guy who can absolutely do what we're looking for here. Those wedges are sexy. And that approach game is money. We're rolling with Kevin in multiple departments here. I think he was at 90-1 on the outright market, which I really should have taken a better look at. But we have other people going elsewhere. His recent form is a bit iffy. But you know what? He plays well at courses like Pebble and things like that, you know, shorter courses. I mean, obviously, look at those wedges. They look fantastic. So, yeah, we'll see what we can do with Kevin. We got a top 20 at him for plus 410. Plus 410. If he cashes that top 20, we can have essentially 4 other guys miss the cut. And we don't worry. We're still breaking even. He's covering 4 other guys' bets. And then we got a top 40 for him at plus 155. So I love Kevin Streelman. Yeah, massive value. He's not the longest hitter on tour, but he drives it in the fairway. And he's going to be having a lot of looks at flags. That's for sure. So we're going to see what he can do. I like him. He's a sneaky play. He's definitely DFS at 7%. Going to be a nice salary cap over there. We're rolling with Kevin Streelman all over the board. Absolutely love it. Matt Wallace. Yes, he had a bit of a hot streak at one point and then kind of simmered off. We're not really getting into the top 20s, top 40s market with Matthew. But maybe we go to him, you know, on DFS side. I don't know. He's 7,600, only 4% owned. But there's nothing that strikes you about Matthew apart from his ownership. That's about it. So that's all I'm going to say. His approach game is very good, but right now nothing seems to be clicking for the guy. So kind of just on to the next. On to the next. This man, Emiliano Grillo from Argentina. Look at this. He's an interesting character. There's some really small numbers and there's some really big numbers on this board. But the biggest number is his outright ticket that we took him at. 120-1, people. 0.1 unit on this man to win the golf tournament pays out 12. He's our guy, 120-1. Last year, he played here and was in contention until he shot, I think, 74 or something, or 72 on the final day. Bit of an implosion, but still finished inside the top 20. He was in contention Saturday night. There's a range of his irons 150 to 175, that final little range where they're hitting the ball about 20% of the time. He's the 6th best player on tour from that distance. His approach game is fantastic. He makes a lot of birdies. He birdies about a quarter of every set of holes he plays. His game fits this tournament very nicely. He played well last year. They're giving us a 400 to 1, plus 400 for a top 20 and plus 150 for a top 40. I absolutely Emiliano Grillo. The guy has got a great baseline to fall back on. His recent form is catastrophic. Yes. But it's okay. We're taking a fly on a guy that can... We've all been there. You show back up to a golf course that you really vibe. I love how I didn't bring this argument up for Kevin Kisner, but it's okay. We're going to bring it up for Emiliano Grillo because he can jam. He can jam at this golf course. It fits his game quite nicely. He's going to be in a lot of fairways. He's always in the fairway with his good drives, and he makes a lot of birdies. Hopefully his putter can keep the magic on this course like it did last year. And he's going to be our guy. We got him across the board. DFS, top 20, top 40, and an outright. Emiliano Grillo, he's our guy. Yes. Oh, we're just hitting the people I'm loving now. This is where we're going to make our cash, peeps. Our 15th, our 8th ranked player in my rankings, and I believe the 42nd ranked player on the DraftKings board is Hayden Buckley. He is outside of Mido, he's one of my favorite Corn Ferry grads that has come in here, and he's just absolutely been tearing it up. Look at those approach numbers. Look at that recent recent form. Phenomenal. Ownership is going to be minimal there at $7,300. That's a cheap one. This guy's finished inside the top 20, I think, the last 2 out of his 5 starts. And they're giving us plus 500 for a top 20 on Hayden Buckley. He finishes inside the top 20. We can have 5 other guys miss the cut. 5 other placings. We've got like 20 placings out there, but all it's really going to take is like 3 or 4 guys to avoid us from like not breaking even here at these ludicrous numbers. Plus 500 is John Rahm last year was like plus 800 to win a golf tournament. They've got this guy at plus 500 just to finish inside the top 20, which he's done 2 out of the last 5 times he's teed up. Bring it to me all day. Bad driving, whatever. Irons, look at that birdie making percentage, dude. The guy is just a birdie machine. 9th in the field making birdies, and he's just approach game's fantastic. I don't know about his wedges. Not a lot of darts on him there, so he hasn't hit a lot of good shots. I like it. Can putt well too. I love a good putter with some good irons. Man, that's a fun combination, especially that many birdies. And then we got a top 30 for him at plus 200. Yeah. At plus 200, top 30, absolutely. This guy's done fantastic. Like I said, he's cracked the top 20 in the last 5 times. 2 out of the last 5 times he's played. Good stuff. Lots of good stuff from Hayden Buckley. 3% owned. Going back there, baby. All day. Lanto Griffin. Plus 150 for a top 40, I believe. He's our guy. We like his approach game. We like his putting. I like him a lot more on a bit more difficult courses because he's just that kind of a guy. But he's a great putter. His recent, last few rounds have been very nice. We like to see that from a guy. And we're getting plus 150 for a top 40. Definitely going to go to him in DFS, kind of down there in the bottom of the board. Doesn't make enough birdies, though. That's the problem. So we'll see. I don't know. The birdie making thing from Lanto is a bit of an issue, but it's okay. If we're just trying to bet him to get inside the top 40, whatever, dude. Just keep knocking him close and just keep putting away. He's a good putter. So we'll go with that and just see what we can do. Yes. 4% owned isn't a lot, though. So that's nice. We'll like to see that from a guy with good wedges and irons. We told you this already. Doug Gim, next guy on the board, the Gim Reaper, some of them call him. He's an interesting fact, too. Nice approach game, especially with the wedges, and he's always in the fairway. He's probably one of those guys that's a bit shorter in nature. So when he's going to be in the fairway on these kind of courses, that's where we're going to go. We got a plus 195 on him for a top 40. And his recent form is a bit iffy. Good drives, good wedges, good approach play, makes a decent amount of birdies. Top 40, just make the cut and just beat like a quarter of the field, and you're cashing the top 40 for us at plus 195 for a top 40 on Doug Gim. Also DFS 4%. We'll see. I don't know. Recent form a bit iffy, but maybe a bit of a shorter course works for the man from Texas University, it looks like. Next up, Patton Kizzire, $7,100 on DraftKings, and I believe he is our 30th ranked golfer. And on DraftKings, he's 51. So there's a bit of a gap there. We really like Patton because, he makes a lot of birdies. His wedges are nice. We're getting down the board now. So we got to temper expectations a little bit with these people. But decent wedge play, and he makes a lot of birdies, and he's a good putter. Recent form, bad. No beating around the bush there. We're not invested in any top 20s, top 40s, but at 7,100, a guy that can putt that well with nice wedges, worth a shot. 3% owned. Okay. It's my 30th ranked golfer. Now, this is another guy I absolutely love. Holy cow. We're getting there, people. We're getting there. We've got like 5 more people, 10 people to go. We're going to blitz through these guys. But Ches Reavie is one of those guys that on longer courses, his driving just doesn't help him. But oh my goodness, does he keep it in the fairway? And from there, he does wonderful things with his irons. The putter, giant red flag. But you know what? At plus 235 for a top 40, we're rolling with Ches. Ches is our boy. He cashed for us, I think 2 weeks ago at Mayakoba. He did really nicely. And this kind of like a similar golf course. You just got to keep it in play and then go from there. So if he can keep the putter under control, his approach game. Oh my, look at that. For a guy all the way down the board, at 7,000. With those kind of wedges, I think you got to go with him. 3% owned. Approach game. We just know he's going to be putting for a lot of birdies. Whether or not he can make them, yet to be determined. Ches Reavie plus 235 for a top 40. Let's go, Ches. Plus 235 for a top 40. He just did that 2 weeks ago. Yes, give it to me all day. All right. Fourth outright on our card is this man, Chad Ramey. Whatever his last name is. Also, another Korn Ferry Tour guy. Irons. Oh, my God. Look at those irons and look at that birdie making percentages. Putting is a big issue for this dude. He's our outright at 130 to 1. We're betting an outright on him because putting is very volatile, and a guy that hits a golf ball as good as he does, well, like I said earlier, I just need to see that one birdie go in and just get that confidence going, get that hole making it bigger and bigger. And then we're talking money. We're talking Cam Smith mullet money. We want him to putt like Cam because you know what? He can hit his wedges like Cam. And he's 130 to 1 on the outright market. All day, Chad Ramey. Then, plus 500 for a top 20. Yes, this man as well has cracked the top 20 in his recent few starts. So we know he can do it. And they're giving us plus 500. Plus 500. Dare I say again, John Rahm was plus 700 the other day to win a freaking golf tournament. I think Zozo, they had Xander and Colin Morikawa at plus 700 to win the goddamn tournament. This guy just needs to finish inside the top 20 at plus 500. Yes, please. Plus 500 for a top 20. Chad Ramey, ball striking machine. Hopefully the putter can be okay. He's going to make lots of birdies for us. All day, Chad Ramey. DFS, sign me up. Let's go, Chad. My boy. Korn Ferry grad. Stuart Sink, not too exposed to him, I don't think, on Sink. He's an interesting character, some Harbour Town comps for Stuart Sink. He just does his thing scooting around with his kid on the bag. Apparently, he was supposed to give up the caddying at some point, but seems to like it too much. Nothing too fancy about Stuart apart from his overall iron play. but he kind of grades out in our models where he's consistent enough on all the fronts that he finished 23rd in our rankings, and we're going to go for him at a top 40 at plus 220. Not very well owned, 2%. So, he's worth a shot. The guy knows how to win golf tournaments. We've seen it. He did it twice last season. So, yeah, Stuart Sink plus 220 for a top 40. Decent approach game. Maybe his son can whisper some sweet nothings into his ear, and hopefully everything goes well for him. Stuart Sink. Tom Hoagie is my next guy, and he's one of my favorite plays down here. This dude has been playing fantastic golf. His irons have been phenomenal. He's got a bit of a putter issue, but you know what? It's okay. This is what we're looking for. Look at that wedge. Look at that wedge range. His irons are good in general, but from that wedge range, he's very good. He's 5th in the field. That's sexy. His last recent form is okay. We're going down into the 6900s here, peeps. He's playing fantastic. His last 24 and last 12 are 32nd and 44th in the field. That's okay. We're going to go to him on a top 40 at plus 230, and we're going a top 30 at 360. Those are some nice numbers for top 30s and top 40s, which he kind of he floats around there. I think he went like top 40 2 out of the last 5 times he's played. So with the golf course that suits his game with the wedges, yes, sign me up all day. DraftKings, DFS, and the placing market. I love his wedges. It's just and they are continuing to play well. You just can't putt. He's had some really bad putting rounds. So all it takes is a decent putter there. Let's see. Like I said, make a few birdies and the putting scheme changes entirely. Cameron Young is at $6,800. His approach game is very worrisome, but he makes a lot of birdies. So he's I think that's where his game is derived from, is just kind of nuking it off the tee and then going from there. But yeah, his birdie percentages is ludicrous. And that's kind of what got him 32nd ranked in our model, is in his recent stint on tour, he's just been making a lot of birdies. So maybe it's a little, he just gets on runs. So we're going to go to top 40 for him at plus 240. Yep. Sorry, just brushing over Cameron. Quick. To get to our next guy, Matthew Neesmith, who also has lost me. He's like approaching blacklist status, but we're going back to him just one more time because he's plus 240 for a top 40. I love those numbers. He did the same thing. He makes the cut and then just finishes in like in that 50 to 60 range. He just can't seal the deal. His approach game, and he's one of the phenomenal anomalies that I have, because look at that approach game. It's 3rd. He's like one of the best strokes gained approach players on tour, but his proximity to the hole is very bad. So from my understanding, I know that strokes gained is based a lot off of proximity to the hole. So there's something weird going on here. And I think we've been misled with his strokes gained approach numbers because they're good, but they're really good. But he's not hitting it close to the hole. Like I looked at all of his ranges, and there's not like there's like 1 or 2 ranges where he's kind of good at, but the rest of them are like really bad. So I don't know. I mean, look at his wedges. He's like outside the top 40 in the field. For a guy that's approach game, he's like top 5 in the world. He's really good at hitting his irons, apparently. But I don't know. Apparently he doesn't hit them very close. Maybe he's just very consistent. I don't know. So anyway, we're going back to the well with him there at plus 240 for a top 40. That's it. Like this is it, buddy. I think you're literally you've been highlighted on the blacklist. If this isn't it, you're off, bud. I don't know. He just hasn't done it for me. He just cannot get it right. So he's going to be the 3rd guy if he doesn't pull through for us. I don't know. I love his approach game, but I mean, doesn't pull through. It doesn't score for him. He just can't capitalize on his good irons. I don't know why. It's frustrating. Anyway, Russell Knox is at 6,700. And if it gets windy, he's your guy. He's like one of the best wind players in the field. And his wedges are very nice. Look at that. His putting is catastrophic. But you know what? Let the wind blow a little bit and give him a wedges. He's going to be in the fairway all the time. I love this combo, like a good. I know I was saying driving isn't important, but it's also nice to see a guy that can be in the fairway like regularly, especially if you got bad putting. You want to be able to have a lot of goes at the birdies that you're going to be looking at. So hopefully Russell can get himself into that beautiful range of the wedges there, where he's sixth in the field. Yeah, we are going to DFS on Russell for sure. $6,700, absolutely. The approach game is too good. He's gonna play well. He's gonna play well at this golf course. His tee shots and his approach game is fantastic. So we're gonna go to Russell on DFS. Absolutely $6,700 all day, sir. Our second last golfer and our second last outright is one of my favorite players, and his name is Hank Lebioda. He's an interesting sir because recently he had a bit of a situation with his dad. If you've watched this before, you know that his dad had some major and critical illness, which he's now recovered from. And that was about when they played it in August. So it's been a long time since Mr. Hank Lebioda has featured on our cards through the model. I've always been betting him kind of like a personal bet, but 1% owns $6,600. He finished inside the top 20 last week. And Mr. Hank Lebioda does two things very well. He hits his irons fantastically, and he hits his putter in the hole a lot. So those approach numbers and his putting numbers have kind of been skewed. His last 24 and his last 12 have also been a little bit skewed. He was in the busy, the really crappy wave of weather at Bermuda, and then birdied a few holes, and then bogeyed both par fives on the back nine to miss the cut there. And then he finished top 20 last week. At 150 to 1, he's going to win this golf tournament. We have an outright on Hank Lebioda, 150 to 1. Yes, give it to me. He can do it. He hits his irons and he putts really well. And he did that last week. And there was a stint in the summertime when he was playing in the Midwest where he did that exact thing. And he played well. And he finished inside the top 20 in those tournaments regularly. So now we're going to get him at plus 210 for a top 40. And he's going to be in a lot of our DFS lineups at $6,600. Approaches and putting. There's a lot of bad emotional lack of confidence data skewing these numbers. He's flipped the switch back to being a mental strong horse now. He played a very difficult golf course last week and finished inside the top 20. We're back to Hank, plus 150 outright and a top 40 at 210. Holy cow. Probably going to sprinkle a bit on top 20 because it's going to be, I think it's plus 500. So we're going back there as well. DFS, yep. And then my final play and our sixth outright on the card is Luke Donald, ladies and gentlemen. The old short little Englishman. Former world number one. And just like Emiliano Grillo, his 100 to 175 range is sexy. 150 to 175, he's sixth in the world on tour. He's tied with Grillo for that stat. And they're going to be hitting from there 22% of the time. So if you take him being the sixth best in that range, and then just, keeping him on a short golf course, we're betting him a top 20 at 12 to 1. Plus 1,200. Betting him at outrights to finish inside the top 20. He finished outside the top 40 just a little bit at Bermuda. Very similar golf course. He got caught in the morning wave on Thursday. Absolutely ruined his chances. Hopefully he doesn't get messed over by a weather thing. He's been playing really well. His approach game is good. His approach game is really good. His driving is a problem. He doesn't hit it very far. This golf course, completely different situation. We don't care. He's going to be hitting his driver. Doesn't have to hit it far. He can even hit 3 woods if he wants. And we know he's former world number one. He can light it up with a putter. I do believe that your putting gets better the more birdies you make. That's just kind of how it goes. It'll come for him. I do think that's the case. His approach game is fantastic. I don't care about his length. His recent form is ass. But you know what? This golf course suits his game really nicely. Luke Donald at 340 to 1. Luke Donald for an outright. And then we're going to go top 20 at 1,200. and obviously DFS all day, every day. All right, folks, that wraps it up. It's been the longest episode I've ever done, but that's okay. Maybe it gives us a winner. I thank you all for your support. It seems like this is our last golf tournament we're going to be having this year. I might jump on a little bit later. I love doing this stuff. So if there's some sort of crappy tournament to do something, I'll be on. But if not, we will see you guys sometime soon. Stay tuned. We're on YouTube now. Please go follow my stuff on there, subscribe, and do all the fun, jazzy YouTube things. I really will appreciate that. And yeah, check me out, The Model Maniac, on Twitter. And yeah, if you know me, send me some feedback. I love to hear what you guys are thinking. Let's go Cam Smith. Let's go Russell Henley. Let's go Luke Donald. Let's go Hank Lebioda. Let's go Emiliano Grillo. And let's go Chad Ramey. One of you guys are going to pull up and win this damn thing, and I'm going to love you for it. It's going to end this year, the season, on a high, and it's going to be a wonderful thing. To all of you out there, guys, thank you so much for your support. Love you all very much. Chat to you soon. Catch you later. Linda Q out.